Hello students, this is Dr. Mercado. Welcome once again to Accounting 1303, Introduction to Accounting 1. In this lecture, we're going to start introducing Chapter 12, which deals with special journals. Okay. Now, before we begin, it's very important to remind students to please read the chapter before you attempt your homework. Okay. Very important information is covered in the chapter that will prepare you to complete your assignments. Okay. Now, Chapter 12 deals with special journals. Okay. Well, what is a special journal? Okay. A special journal is basically a journal designed for recording specific kinds of transaction. Okay. A special journal can be created for almost any kind of transaction depending on the needs of the business. Okay. The types of special journals a business uses should depend on the types of transactions that occur most frequently for a business. The primary purpose of using special journals is to save time in journalizing and posting transactions. In a general journal, we record transactions by writing the account names, the debits, the credits, the amounts, the explanations for each transaction on several line items. Okay? Sometimes we have transactions that occur 20, 30, 50, 100 times a month. And imagine if we're recording all of those transactions as they are occurring. We're going to be having at the end of the month 300, 400 transactions to record and then transfer those transactions to the ledgers. It becomes very time consuming, especially for small businesses. So developing or creating or using special journals allows for time management. We keep track of certain information on these special journals and then we only record one entry at the end of the month. Okay, so these are a great alternative for small businesses or businesses that use a manual accounting system. Okay. So before I begin, let's go over some types of journals and transactions that we are going to be exposed to in this chapter. So we have a variety of journals. We have a sales journal, which is basically used to record sales of merchandise on account. Only sales of merchandise on account. We've got a cash receipts journal that records and keeps tracks of all cash receipts, only dealing with cash. We've got a purchases journal, which keeps track of all purchases of merchandise on account. Then we've got cash payments journal that keeps track of all cash payments. And then we have a general journal, which is if it doesn't belong to any of those four categories, whether it be a sales journal, a cash receipts journal, a purchases journal, or a cash payments journal, if it doesn't fall into those four buckets, then we just use a regular general journal. Okay, and that you record all other transactions that don't apply. Now, when we are dealing with special journals, okay, in this particular chapter, we are illustrating the use of special journals using a manual accounting system. Okay, so if you have a manual accounting system where you keep track of these in spreadsheets, in paper, different ways of different businesses keep track of their information, then using a special journal can be beneficial. If you are using a computerized system such as QuickBooks, then you really don't have to worry about much of this because everything's automated. So you enter your journal entry and everything automatically populates into the ledgers and into the financial statements and all of that stuff. So this is more specific to having a manual accounting system. Okay, if you have a computerized system, then you really don't have to worry about all of this tedious work because the system does it for you. Okay, so when we have these special journals, in this particular problem that I'm going to be going over with you in a moment, we're going to be dealing with sales journals. Okay, so we're going to illustrate how simpler or more simple it can be to accumulate data and then just do one transaction at the end of the month. Okay, it's going to be more efficient. It's going to save you a lot of time in posting from the journal to the ledgers, and it will, sometimes all of those transactions can be very time consuming, and then you run the risk of, if you're doing all of this manually, to make a mistake. So this allows for less time, it's going to be more efficient, and just less journal entries to record on the actual system. Okay, so let's get started. The problem that I've decided to share with you and go over with you in detail is problem 12-6A. Okay, here we're illustrating how to complete a sales journal. Okay, so here we have Futi Ishanyan owns a retail business and made the following sales during the month of August. They're letting us know that there is a 6% sales tax on all sales. So these are all of the sales that were done by Futi during the month. Okay, we're going to record the transactions in the sales journal starting with page 8. Okay, so every sales journal has a page number. That way we can go back and, okay, what did we do for this transaction? Okay, we can go back to the sales journal and look at the detail. Okay, we're going to total and verify the column totals and rule the columns. Okay, so let's start off. Okay, we're going to have our sales journal is the title. We've got the date, the cell number, who we sold it to, our post reference, our accounts receivable debit, sales credit, and sales tax payable credit. Okay, now these are the three accounts that we're going to be recording to when we make a sale on account. Remember, sales journal are only for sales done on account. Okay, if a sales was done with cash, then we're not going to record it here. Okay, only for sales done on account, and that is one of the requirements. Remember, sales journal, sales of merchandise on account. Okay, so let's begin with August the 1st. Okay, we've got sale number 213. Who did we sell it to? We sold the merchandise to Jeter Manufacturing. So this is very simple to create, and then it basically gives us a breakdown of how we're going to be journalizing our entry. Okay. For the post reference, I'm leaving it blank because I still have not transferred this information to my ledgers. The post reference is filled when we transfer the information to the ledger. Okay. So I've got my accounts. Okay. So how much does it say? It says that we sold $1,300 of merchandise. Okay. Plus tax. So the amount of my sale is for $1,300. The sales column is the actual merchandise. How much did we sell of merchandise? We sold $1,300. Okay. How much did we sell in taxes? Okay. How much sales tax applies to the sale amount? So we sold $1,300 of goods, and we are going to collect 6% of sales tax. That means that the sales tax that we're going to collect is $78. Remember, when we are selling goods, we have to collect, we are responsible to collect the sales tax and then remit payment to the taxing entity for the state. Okay, so we made a sale of $1,300. We collected $78 in taxes, and I misspelled receivable, guy. Let me fix that. Receivable. Okay, there we go. So going back, we made a sale of $1,300. We collected $78 in taxes. So the total that we have to collect from Jeter is the sum of these two. We're going to add those two together, and that's going to give me $1,378. Okay. Now I'm using Excel. I recommend that if you are doing this for a small business, you set all of these in Excel form and you keep a good record. You save all of the information. I'm going to copy the formula down. Okay, that way I know that I need to add my sales credit plus my sales tax payable credit. You add those two together, and that is the amount that I have to collect on my accounts receivable for each customer. Okay. August the 3rd, we have a sale number 214, and we sold to Hassan Company. Okay. We sold $2,600 of merchandise. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply 2,600 times 6%. And you can do all of these calculations in the actual cells, but because I do want to show you how I'm calculating them, I'm doing it in my calculator. Okay. So that's $156. Okay. So how do we get the sales tax? The sales times 6% will give you your sales tax payable credit. So the total that I have to collect from Hassan is $27.56, which is the 2,600 plus the 156. Okay, August the 7th. We have a sale, number 215 to Hobrock Incorporated, $1,700 plus sales tax. open a new account for this customer. So this is the first time that we use Habrock. Okay, so that's going to serve us for a different purpose, but we just need to record the cell. This is cell number 215 to Habrock Incorporated. Okay, the amount of the cell to Habrock is 1,700. So 1,700 times 6%. That's going to be $102 of taxes that we have to collect. So the total that we have to collect is $1,802. Okay, so if you see, this is fairly easy. We're just keeping a record of all of the sales that we've made on account. We've got sale number 216 to Seth Mowbray, and we sold $1,400. 1,400 times 6%. That gives me $84 in taxes. So the total that I have to collect from Seth is $1,484. Okay. On the 18th, I've got cell number 217 to Hassan. Okay, and we sold to Hassan $39.60. Okay, I'm gonna get the $39.60. And I'm going to multiply it by 6%, and that's going to give me taxes of $237.60. Okay. So I'm going to collect from Hassan $41.97.60, which is the amount of my sale plus my taxes. Okay. On the 22nd, I have a sale number 218 to Jeter. Okay. The amount of the sale is for $2,800. The taxes that we have to collect are $2,800 times 6%. It's going to be $168. Okay, so the total that I have to collect for this transaction for Jeter is $29.68. It's, remember, we have to collect the sale amount plus the taxes. And be very careful on your tax, because every student is going to have a different problem. In this problem, my sales tax is 6%. On yours, it can be 5%, 7%, 9%. It just depends on the problem. So be very careful when you're doing your problem that you carefully read the information. Okay. Last but not least, we've got August the 30th. We've got sale number 219 to Seth. Okay. And we sold $1,900 to Seth. So we're going to get $1,900 times 6%, and that's going to give me $114. Okay, so those are all of my sales on account for the month of August. Okay, so now what am I going to do? I'm going to get my totals. Okay, so I'm going to sum the total of each column to get my totals. And let me, so these are the totals that I got. Let me include the decimals. Okay. So I just formatted it to numbers and include 2 decimals. So for my accounts receivable, I've got, and let me do a double underline. Okay. I've got $16,599.60. For my sales, I've got a credit of $15,660, and for my sales tax payable credit, I've got $939.60. Okay, accounts receivable, when we sell something on account, accounts receivable is an asset. We record it with an increase with a debit, so that's why my account is being debited. Sales is a revenue account, and it increases with a credit. Okay. Sales tax payable, anytime we see the word payable, is a liability account. Liabilities, we record the normal balance is a credit. Okay, so that is what we have. So when we do our entry, we're going to debit accounts receivable, credit sales tax payable. Okay, so this is the summary for the month of our sales on account. Okay, we need to make sure that our debits equal our credits. Okay, so I know that I have a debit of $16,599.60. I'm going to add $15,660 plus $939.60, and that gives me $16,599.60. So that means that my debits equal my credits, and I am in balance. Okay. So it says here to record the transactions in the sales journal, which we did, total and verify the column totals and rule the columns, which we've done. Okay. Now it says to post from the sales journal to the general ledger and accounts receivable ledger accounts. Use account numbers as shown in the chapter. Okay. So we have three accounts that we're posting to. We're posting to accounts receivable, to sales, and to sales tax payable. Accounts receivable is account number 122. So I'm going to reference this right here. Account 122. Okay. Let me do that. Okay. And then my sales account is account number 401. That way I know where am I posting this. My sales tax payable is account number 231. Okay. So these are my GL numbers, okay? General ledger numbers. That way you don't get confused. What are these numbers? These are my general ledger numbers, okay? So now I am ready to do my journal entry. If we would have been doing this the normal way, we would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 transactions with 3 different entries to each. So we would have had 21 different entries going on. Okay, 7 times 3 would give me 21 individual entries that would have been done. By us utilizing a sales journal, we're only going to have one entry, and it's going to be only affecting each transaction one time instead of it hitting 7 times. So instead of having 7 entries to accounts receivable, 7 entries, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 entries to sales and 7 entries to sales tax payable, we're going to only have 1 entry to each of those accounts. So how are we going to do that? First, we're going to go to accounts receivable. Okay, we're going to enter the date, and we're posting all of this as of the end of the month. Okay. Where am I getting the information? I'm getting this information from Sales Journal 8, page 8. Okay, so we're doing the Sales Journal S, page 8. Okay, and what do we have? We have a debit to the account for $16,599.60. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just make this a little bit wider. There we go. Okay, so I'm just copying that number over here, and my balance is going to be a debit balance because I posted a debit transaction. I'm going to put it over here, $16,599.60. Okay, so I've recorded that entry, and then I'm going to go to my sales. Okay, and I'm going to record on August the 31st. Okay, from Sales Journal 8, I'm going to record a credit of $15,660. Okay, so the normal balance for my sales should always be a credit, so I've got $15,660. Okay, and then I'm going to go post to my sales tax payable on August the 31st. Okay, from Sales Journal 8. Okay, I'm going to post a credit of $939.60, and that is going to be transferred over to my credit balance of $939.60. Okay, so by me doing these 3 entries, I have recorded everything that has happened, all of my sales on account for the month of August. So you see, instead of doing so many entries, having 7 entries hitting 3 different accounts, instead of having 21 entries, we basically only have 1, 2, 3 entries to the 3 different accounts. Just 1 entry hitting all 3 accounts. Okay, so it summarizes everything for you. It just makes it simple. If you want to know who you sold to, then you just have to refer to Sales Journal 8, and it gives you the details that you need to see. Okay, so it basically works hand in hand. It's simpler for us to keep track of. It allows us to keep a record of all of our sales by sales number, the dollar amount by category, where we're putting the different dollar amounts. What is the sales amount, the sales tax payable, and the accounts receivable for. Okay. Now that I've transferred my information from my journal, from my sales journal to my general ledgers, I can go ahead and put that I have notated, okay? I have transferred the information from my journal to my ledgers, okay? So all we have to do is put the check mark, okay? On the actual ledger, we do have to reference the sales journal, okay? So step number 1, create your sales journal, okay? Once you create your sales journal, you total them up. Debits equal credits. You confirm that that is correct. Then you transfer the totals to your general ledger for the accounts, the 3 accounts being affected, okay? Now we're going to create our accounts receivable ledger, okay? Our accounts receivable ledger keeps track of and that basically this should have been done after we post the information over here. That way we know, let me delete this. That way we know that, you know what, we've transferred the information by vendor, okay? So disregard what I said. Post the post reference after you transfer the information to your accounts receivable ledger. I forgot that we needed to do this step, okay? So we're being asked on requirement 2 to post from the sales journal to the ledger and to the accounts receivable ledgers, okay? So here we have a ledger by customer. We made sales during the month to these specific customers, and now we have to keep track of who owes us the money, okay? So we have to update our accounts receivable ledgers. So we have them in alphabetical order. We've got the name of the customer and the address for each, okay? So we've got Hassan, Harbrock, Jeter, and Seth, okay? Now we're going to go and we're going to enter the information, okay? And I'm going to go in order based on what we have here on our sales journal. So let's start with Jeter. And I'm going to highlight them as I do them, okay? That way we know that we've copied the information. We've got August the 1st, and we've got those $3 amounts. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide these. That way I move my data over, and that makes it easier for me, okay? So I've got Jeter, so I'm going to go down here to Jeter, and it is, Jeter was August the 1st. The item, we leave it blank. And then this is sales journal 8. And then for Jeter, we had a debit of $13.78, and that's going to be my balance, okay? So I'm working with Jeter. Let me see, do we have anything else for Jeter? Yes, we do. We have another transaction for Jeter right there. And this is on August the 22nd, okay? So let's go back to Jeter and let's finish Jeter off. August the 22nd. Sales journal 8, and the amount was $429.68, okay? It's $29.68, okay? Now I'm picking up the accounts receivable. We are preparing the accounts receivable ledger. We are picking up, let me not highlight those, no fill. We're picking up these numbers right here, the accounts receivable numbers, $13.78 and $29.68, okay? And now we're going to add those two together. So we've got $13.78 plus $29.68. That'll give me $43.46. Okay. So those are the two transactions that I have for Jeter. And that's my ending balance for Jeter, $43.46. Okay. Now that I've posted them to my subsidiary ledgers, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark them off. You know what? They've been posted. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to continue with my next one that I have. I have Hassan. And let's see how many entries do we have for Hassan. We have 1. We have 2 entries for Hassan. Okay, so let's do Hassan up here. First, we're going to start off with August the 3rd. Sales 8. and we've got a debit of $27.56. Okay, I've already recorded that one. Okay, now I'm going to go to the 18th, August the 18th, sales 8, and my entries for 41.97.60. So we're going to add 27.56 plus 41.97.60. That will be 69.53.60. 69.53.60. So that is my ending balance for Hassan. Okay, and I've posted that one as well. Okay, next I'm going to look at Habrak. Okay, and I have only one entry for Habrak. Okay, and for Habrak we have August the 7th, sales journal 8, and the amount is 1802. So my balance is 1802. Okay, that will be my ending balance. And now I can go ahead and mark that I've transferred that information over. And then we have Seth. We've got 2 entries for Seth. Okay, we've got 1 and we've got 2 entries for Seth. The first one is on August the 11th. Sales 8. And then we've got 1484. Okay. 1484. Okay, so that one has been posted. And now we have August the 30th for 2014. So we're going to add those two together. 34.98. Okay, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put my check mark. That way I can annotate all of these have been posted individually to the different accounts receivable ledgers. Okay, so at the end we've got a record of how much we have to collect from each of these customers that we have. I have to collect $6,953.60 from Hassan, $1,802 from Harbrock, $43.46 from Jeter, and then $34.98 from Seth. Okay, and if we add those 4 numbers, okay, $69.53.60, $1,802. Okay, and then we add 43.46 and 34.98. That's going to give me 16,599.60. Okay, that number needs to equal to your accounts receivable debit total. Okay, 16,599.60, which is the number that was recorded to your accounts receivable ledger right there. Okay, so this number needs to equal to that number, 16,599.60, and then the sum of your accounts receivable ledgers needs to tie back to that number as well. Okay, so what did we do here? Okay, we have a whole bunch of sales that we've made on account. Okay, we've summarized them. We put them in our sales journal. We got the totals. Using the totals, we recorded one entry, which included your debit to accounts receivable, a credit to sales tax payable, and a credit to sales. Okay, and then that way it is more efficient. We just do one entry. It really cuts down the time of transferring all of those separate journal entries into your ledgers. And then once we were done with updating our ledgers with the information for the month, these are the sales on account for the month of August. Then we went ahead and we updated our accounts receivable ledgers. And this basically illustrates how much each of the customers owes us money, okay, and the date that the transaction occurred. So it breaks down your receivable balance by customer. We have the customer's name and the address and the total for that each of these customers owes us money. That way we can use this accounts receivable ledger, pick up the phone and start collecting. Hey, you owe me money. It's been 60 days. You haven't paid me. What's going on? Okay. So it's the three different things. It's just a way to simplifying the journal entering process if you are using a manual accounting system rather than using an electronic system such as QuickBooks. Okay. So I hope this helps you identify how to analyze and organize the information into the separate special journals, how useful these special journals can be in saving time and energy into recording transactions into the system, organizing the information, and then transferring the information to both the general ledger and the accounts receivable ledger. Okay. Please practice. Please read the chapter. There's different special journals that you're going to be assigned to complete in your homework. There's show me how videos on your homework. Please listen to those videos, as well as there's wonderful examples in your ebook. Please look over those examples as well. If you have questions or concerns, do not hesitate to contact me. And until next time, have a great rest of your day.